That was so soothing.
What's going on, my brother?
What's good,
Round
man?
three. Hey, yeah,
Yeah,
it
you.
was right. It was
Yeah,
good.
it was like
It
really
felt good
like
to me. It felt real good
yeah.
to me.
I was falling asleep for a second.
It's just kind of like
So soothing.
kind of usher in that move.
Yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah,
like
I'm a lower
oh.
myself. There we go. Get a little. All right, so I'm glad to be back in with you. Last
Yeah,
time we
yeah,
talked
most definitely.
about you know what it is to be a Christian and the Ten Commandments, and um, I'd like to go a little bit deeper into that and talk a little bit more about it, and then we can kind of, if you want, if you're, can kind of share our testimonies and how we came to God and what Christianity looks like in our lives. Last time, I know we used a lot of, we not a lot, but we talked about the Ten Commandments and how people back in the day perceived God and how they looked at their lives as far as being believers. They weren't called Christians until Christ came and died and resurrected the disciples. They were early Christians, but they, little known fact, in the Bible, it actually says that they were members of the way or followers of the way. And the way was they were called. They were called followers of the way back then. So, because Jesus said he is the way, the truth, and the life. So that really gives the name Christian is just kind of, it's what we have now. It's our interpretation of being a follower of the way or being a follower of Christ. You have
Right.
Christ, and then that suffix at the end. So today, let's just talk about. We can do general conversation here because we kind of went into a lot last time, um, and just kind of talk about ourselves, kind of talk about our upbringings and what got us into Christ and how we are daily living the Christian life. And if you want to start us off, just kind of give us a little snippet of who you are and then go into your walk with God.
So it's your boy Hectic. um, yeah, I started this about a year ago. I started to walk with God, the real walk with God. And yeah, man, it's just it's a totally different change. Um, it's hard. It's not easy. I had to give up a lot of stuff. Um, yeah, stuff that I noticed are were not good for me. Um, things that nowadays it's considered normal uh, in this world, and I don't know. I feel better. I'm more humble. Um, but there's times that it's hard for me, and I always remember to take a step back and read the word and remember what Jesus did for us, and that usually brings me back uh away from temptation and stuff like that. And plus, I have you. You're my best friend, and
Yeah.
I always come to you
Yo.
for advice whenever I'm having a tough time. Um, yeah, yeah. My work. It's like I said, it's been a year. Um, that's not really a long time. Um, but I I'm happy where I am now. I'm happier.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm just gonna continue fighting fighting that fight, and I know God loves me, and he's always next to me, and he's always listening, and that's another thing I like. I love that relationship I have with him.
Mm.
I talk to him every day, a couple times a day.
Yeah.
I make sure that I thank him. I make sure that I ask for forgiveness because I know even if I go, I don't think I did anything today. I probably did. So you gotta
Right.
and that's the relationship you have with God. You got to talk to him, and you got to make sure that because he's watching everything.
Hmm.
He knows everything. You can't hide anything from him. You know what I mean? So you got to make sure that relationship is beautiful. It's beautiful, and yeah, yeah. And the journey continues. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
it's
saga
never,
continues.
it's never gonna stop. Yeah, it's never gonna stop.
Right.
It's never gonna stop. Um, yeah, and I don't see myself going backwards. Um, Usually that happens with a lot of people. You know, they take this walk with God, and but you know, it's tough. We're human beings. You know, it's as long as we're flesh. You know, there's always going to be temptation, and you know, sometimes we go back to it. It's not that you're weak. You know, it's that's why we need God. That's why we need Jesus.
Hmm.
You know, if that was the case, we wouldn't need them. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So yeah, yeah. For me, the journey continues. Hopefully, as we continue doing this podcast, I will share this. I will share my journeys with everybody and with you, of course. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. All right.
yes, sir.
Um,
Yeah,
and as for me, um, I think we did touch on a little bit of our upbringing and stuff in the last episode. I'm not sure. Forgive me. I got a little bit of a cold. Um, but
heard
other
that.
than that, man, yeah, my voice is not really where I want it to be. Anyway, um, last time last time we talked about uh, what the early Christians did and how they were, and we brought that into Jesus and what his followers believe and the two commandments that Jesus gave us. And I I had been in the church, I would say maybe since 6 old. And those things, like you know, you come up in the church. I'm from kind of the old school, so you have the Pentecostal church where there's, you know, shouting and people are running around and laying of hands and all that kind of stuff. And being 5, 6 years old, you really don't kind of get that. You know what I mean? You don't. You're in that environment. You're around it. You see it. You're kind of like, oh, you know, it is what it is. Whatever. You know, if you're paying attention or not. But then as you grow, you start to hear things on repeat throughout the years, like certain Bible stories and certain things like that. And then you start to hold on to bits and pieces. And then as you get older and older, you start to hear those things more and you start to understand them. And then you hear more stories. And then those stories start to stick to you. And then you start to get bits and pieces of that. And it becomes a thing to where you get a certain age and it's like, now do you believe on your own or do you kind of fall away? And I feel a lot of people, as soon as they make that decision, because their parents force them to do XYZ at church or come to church, you got to do it every Sunday. You got to do it every Sunday. It kind of pushes them out the front door before they really get to why they're there and why it's important for them to be there. But for me and my family, my mother was she was a songstress, so she sung in churches a lot, and that had us in church constantly. And I'm talking like Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesday night, you know, revival meetings, you know, wherever the church would go, or if there was a wedding or something like that, and people from the church, they'd always be like, "Hey, get your mom to sing. Hey, let me ask your mom to sing." And my mom was always all over the place singing, like everywhere. Like we would always be riding with somebody or riding with her to go see her sing, and she would be singing some of the most beautiful songs. And as I got older, my mind equated my mother being in the church and God to it equated those two things to being special. And it made the word, when I heard it, stick to me more because those people, I was around them so much that they stopped being just church folk. They stopped being just people I see on the weekend. They stopped being they became like extended family members. You know what I'm saying? and it made me want to go to church more. And because I had that that inner desire to go on my own. It kind of replaced all the other needs that I had. Like, when I say that, I mean like going outside and playing with my friends or something like that. Like, things that you would have as a kid, things you would have in middle school. Like, I have other priorities. Well, this became a priority to me. And then as I got older, I had to wrestle with, is this stuff real, or is this just some stuff that they're talking about that, you know, like, what is this? I had to compartmentalize all of these stories from the Bible. I had to compartmentalize the people I saw. I had to compartmentalize the feelings that I had as a kid. And the older that I got, the more I started to see things also. Because being in those revivals, being at people's bedsides when they were in a hospital, being in church and seeing people change and seeing spirits being casted out and seeing people being healed. Like, I saw those things in front of my eyes. I saw people come in one way and leave another way, and it always made me think, like, there has to be something here. There has to be something going on. And as I got into high school, I started to kind of break away from it, but it always seemed to call me back. So then I just continued to struggle on and off. And it was always this on and off thing that I had with God, where He was calling me and I wasn't listening. He was calling me and I wasn't listening. And then it took me, it took the time when my family moved from Virginia. I don't know if you remember, it was a long time ago, but my family moved from Virginia and I was up there by myself, and I just started working at Outback.
Yeah.
And I was by myself. Like, remember when my car broke down in the parking lot
Yeah.
and it stayed out there for like a month, and somebody had broke my
Yes.
window? Like, all of my stuff was crammed into a Nissan Altima, champagne colored Nissan Altima, which is my first car. And I got the car, and it was dope for a while, and then I had to move, and I packed all of my crap in the back of it. I ended up staying at Crystal's with y'all, the Crystal's place, and the group house, or the group home. We
The
stayed in
group
the
home. Yep. Yep. The
Yeah,
group home. Yeah.
and I wrestled with God that entire time. Like, I was wrestling with God that entire time. So I was like, oh, God's supposed to be looking out for me, but I'm out here. I don't got nowhere decent to sleep. I'm sleeping on my friend's floor. Like, where is He? You know what I'm saying? What is, like, I'm supposed to be clinging to this thing. My family is now gone. They're back in Florida. And I'm just like, okay, God, like, you're going to be out here. You want me to lean on you. Show me something. But it was so much deeper than just Him coming and giving me a place to stay. Because I took it for granted. In all honesty, I took all of it for granted. I took having a car for granted, a nicer car. I took sleeping on Crystal's floor for granted. Like, I felt like I deserved so much more, and then God had to break me down and show me things, like, for what they were. And then that's when I was in and out of relationships at the time. I was just doing things on my own, and it never worked. None of it. Never. It never stuck. I got into that one relationship with Deja, and I was with her for a while, and that was the biggest roller coaster ride I had ever been on up until this point. And when I was free of that, I finally started to see that God was trying to move me somewhere, and I was resisting. And it's the resistance that I gave to Him that I constantly threw toward Him, instead of, my affection and my attention and my time. The resistance is what was causing all of that anguish. So as soon as I stopped resisting and I let go and I let Him do what He was going to do, I finally saw a path. And then that's when I ended up moving back to Florida. I was like, you know what? I'm not supposed to be here forever.
And
Like,
I think I told you that.
yeah,
I was like,
we had a
yeah,
conversation.
yeah. I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
you should go to Florida, and I'll see you there.
yeah, yeah. Right, right,
Remember? And then like a year
right,
and then like a
right,
year
right,
later, I
right,
moved
right.
down there.
You came
Yeah,
down,
yeah.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah, man.
yeah, yeah. Because you was like, because I remember you was like, I don't know what I got. I don't know what I have to do, fam. Like I feel like I remember having
I
yeah, I
was
remember
struggling.
yeah, you was just
I
like
was struggling.
no, because you was
Man.
just like
Struggling.
yo, and I seen it, and at the time, I would we were hanging out a lot because you were living in that your dude's house that
Yeah,
was never
yeah, yeah,
there. Had you was
yeah.
in that small
Mike,
room, yeah, yeah, yeah. So remember
shout out to Mike.
yeah, shout out to Mike. We was always there.
Yeah, he gave me
We
the
was
whole
always
crib.
there.
I had a whole
Yeah,
house to myself,
yeah,
but
the
I
whole
stayed in that
time.
room. And
Yep.
then the spiders. Oh my gosh, the spiders. I'm not even gonna make you. Wow, like these wolf spiders that they had the babies on them. Holy
Yeah,
crap, those things were crazy.
yeah.
They just kept showing. I kept killing them, and they kept showing up. I was like, bro, I don't know where
Yeah,
these
and
things.
I remember you was like, "Fam, they out here." I was like, "Yo, I don't see them." And then one day I seen a whole bunch of them. I was
I,
like, "Oh,
I caught one and I left it on the counter, and I trapped it and I left it on the counter. I was like, that right there is what I'm fighting
kid, I think
every night I
kid, I
come
think
home.
I killed one, and like little babies came out." I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
that's a little spider.
oh,
I was
yeah,
like, I
yeah,
can't be
yeah."
here. I was like, I'm gone. I can't be here. I was like,
No, but I
God,
remember, I remember you like I saw like I felt you were it was different. You know what I mean?
yeah, it
Like
was a
I I
different.
I noticed I noticed like your vibe.
Yeah,
It was different. And
yeah,
then I remember you was like, "Yo, fam, I don't know, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do," or you know what I mean. And
right, yeah,
I was like, go to your family, fam.
right, right, and just
Go
restart.
to yeah.
Just,
I was like,
just
just go, and I will meet you. And I to be honest with you, I didn't want you to go in a way,
right,
but I
yeah,
was like, I'm gonna meet you down there. I'm gonna see you again.
yeah.
So it's yeah, go down there because you don't really look happy. I felt like I felt like
I wasn't.
I felt like you were trying to be happy, but it wasn't. Just
Wasn't
wasn't.
clicking.
Yeah, yeah. You could tell it was
It
like a
wasn't.
fake happiness. Like it was just
Yeah,
like it was like you were trying. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
and I was just like, yeah, just go down there, fam. Go
yeah.
down there. I feel you.
That now remember what that looks like,
Yeah,
because you have the privilege of seeing somebody struggle with God firsthand. Like you've known me for years and years and
yeah,
years.
yeah,
You've seen me when I'm really good, when I'm doing well.
yeah,
You see me come down. You see me come really far down. You seen me in that struggle moment. You see me come out of it, and you seen like now you see where we are, and the atmosphere is completely
yeah.
different.
It's different.
The feeling is completely different. Like
Like it's
when
different.
you're
Yeah,
struggling with God and you're trying to get through things, that's where He takes you. And it might seem like He stepped away, but it's not that. It's just that He's trying to open you up, so new things to you. So
yeah,
you're gonna have these moments where it just seems like he's here and I feel him and he's right next to me. He's gone. I don't know where God went. And then you're gonna be in between sometime where things are kind of good but not fully where you think they could be. But just hold on to what he gave you. And if you ever need to go anywhere, like if you want to retreat to something, you have the Bible. And that's what this is for. You retreat here. You retreat to these stories, these people's lives who existed. Like you retreat to these things. You see how God was consistent and he was always there, even though they didn't know he was there. And you lean on that for your life. And as long as you're trying to go to God with what your issues and concerns are, he doesn't step away from you. It just feels like he's not there sometimes. And that's more so on me than him because he never left. Even when I wasn't, like, I can tell you when I was living in Virginia full time, I wasn't nearly as connected to God as I am right now, like at all. We would go out, we would drink, I would go fornicate with, so and so and then be good and be back at work on Monday. My life was totally in the opposite direction, but he was still dealing with me. And every time something would happen, he would bring me down and I'd try to get up and I'd try to walk it off. And then he'd bring me back down and try to sit me down and I'd get up and I'd try to walk it off until the point where I got to that point where I was like, I kind of got to move. I need to go back. I need to go back home. I need to tear all this apart. I need to rebuild it because I don't know what I'm doing. at this point. I don't have any plan. I don't know where I'm going. But when I got back here, things were so clear. It was so weird. I got back and I was like, I can redo everything now. I can redo everything. I just wish I kept my bills in order. But on second thought, it's better that I didn't, because we got that place down in Yulee, and people came after me for my bills, and I was like, crap, like I don't have the money to pay all of this and keep my apartment. Like I can't stay here. And it's better that God did that, because if I'd have stayed there, maybe I wouldn't be where I am now. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
he got me here. I created my own plan. And then he said, nah, I don't need you to do that. And he closed that door and rerouted me to this. And now I have way more opportunities than I've I've done things in my life now because of this path that I wouldn't have done if I'd have stayed in Yulee with y'all and just kept that apartment. And the apartment was so dope though. Like
That apartment,
I liked
that apartment
living.
was dope.
I
That apartment was
really
dope.
liked living
Yeah, that
there.
was a
Yeah.
dope apartment. That was a dope
We were
apartment.
staying there with Tanner,
Yeah.
guy we used to work with at the Omni Resort.
God bless
And
him.
yeah, I don't know where he is now, but
Yeah, I
he's
know he is either.
um but yeah, that was a good apartment, man. We had got there when they first built it. It was brand new.
That I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I kind of like when I was in Virginia, I kind of felt the same way too.
Yeah.
I don't think I hit rock bottom, but see that like I wasn't even thinking about God.
Mm,
Like to me, I wasn't thinking about him. I wasn't having a fight with him. I wasn't struggling. You know what I mean?
mm,
But I was unhappy. That's why I moved.
yeah.
I don't know, something told me to go with you. That's why I told you I was like I'm gonna move down. I'm gonna move down there. I I I I didn't know a lot. I didn't know a lot, but I knew I had to do that. I knew I had to do that, and then it linked, and then it worked out too because my mom was like, even my mom was like, oh, I'm moving down to Florida,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was before you. She was just like, it's gonna take time because the
Hmm.
house, the house that we lived in, she had to remodel it to sell it and do all this stuff, and that took a while. But I was like, I think because I had told you I was gonna move down there. I was like, give me a year, I'm gonna move down there,
Yeah.
and then she was like, yo, just wait. I was like, nah, I think I'm supposed to go down there now, and then I'll see you when you come down, and that's what I did.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I still wasn't because remember, I've been here for what 7, 8
Years.
years
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
and I just got reunited with God.
Yeah.
It's about to be a year, and as a matter of fact, in March, because I remember. So in March it's gonna be a year,
Yeah.
and I think he set me on that path because you were gonna you're the one that was gonna show me.
Maybe, because looking at
So so
looking
so
at it
if
now,
if
yeah.
so if you look at it, it's like I feel like he told me to tell you to leave, and then he made me leave because of you. So it was just like a you need to move down here, and then you need to move down here too.
Right.
And eventually he's gonna pray for you, pray for you. You're gonna change, and then like you said, you was praying for me,
Right.
and then for some reason everything just
Yeah.
clicked. It just
Because
clicked. I
it's
don't I don't know what it was. I don't even remember what it was. I just remember it was like
yeah. It
I
it
think
was
I
wild,
think I need
man.
this. I think I need
It was,
this.
it was wild because you because one week I remember we were doing the Trash Talking Universe podcast. Go check that out. By the way, it's up on Spotify. Um, but we were doing that podcast, and I remember having a conversation with God. Like, if you go to Spotify right now, for the listeners out there, if you go to Spotify, you look up Trash Talking Universe, And there is an episode where we talked about God, and it was me, you, and Ray. And you can hear the difference in the way that you talk now versus the way that you talk then. And that was not even that long ago. It's like a year ago, maybe a
How
year ago, maybe a little bit longer.
how did I talk?
And you were like, "Oh, I believe, but I'm not sure." And you were like, "Oh, this teaching says this teaching says this." I should have went and got the file and played it. I should have played it like this teaching says this, and you and Ray were like, "Yeah, like I don't know what's what, and I don't know what says what, and like I believe that there's something out there, but I'm not gonna." And I'm just like, "Yeah, God did it." I'm like, I'm in that little box by myself. I'm like, "Man, God did it." That's all I knew. I was like, well, all of that, it makes sense because God is an intelligent designer. Like he's the creator. He's the author. That's why it makes sense. And y'all are like, nah, but this religion says that too. And and I'm like, okay, they can all mimic Christianity for all I care. They can do whatever they want. God still did it. Like God was here first. Intimidators, not intimidators, but what is it? What's the word I'm thinking of? Imitators. Wow.
Imitators.
Imitators come up every time somebody does something.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll always have a bootleg of whatever that main thing is.
Right.
As long as that main thing has been running, there'll be bootlegs.
Because
You'll
because
never.
people don't want it to be him.
They don't.
I
They
don't-
don't want it to be him. They don't want
and
it
I
to be
think
him at all.
it's because they don't want to follow. In reality, they don't want to follow his rules. His rules are
That's what
insane.
that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, they don't want to
It's
do that.
the
They want to do what they
accountability.
want. Yeah, yeah, they want to
Yeah,
do what
the
they want.
accountability. They don't want somebody who's not standing next to them in physical form telling them, "Oh, hey, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. Oh, hey, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that." But if you look at
But
society now, like, where do you think we're headed? Like, and that
but
this is a whole nother conversation. But
but remember, we had Jesus came down, and
truth,
they were
truth,
still it's the same thing. So it doesn't. I don't
truth.
think that matters. And it's like that video. What if God showed himself?
Yeah, go check
People are
that out
fickle.
on the TikTok.
People are fickle.
Yeah,
He said the
it's
son will. He said the son will leave. Like it gets to the point where like, oh, the son is not here.
right. So,
It
like,
doesn't matter.
you have people who people just want to be people, man. People want to people. You know what I mean? Like that's really what it comes down to.
You could,
And
but you could. No,
you don't want anybody telling you how to be people and how to do people. You want to do people on your own, and that's
okay.
really what it is.
I got. Okay, so people don't want to be told what to do, right?
Mm.
But I'm pretty sure if we didn't have a president, people would go insane. There would probably be havoc.
I think so. If you took
So so
all of government, you would have to take it
yeah,
all out.
yeah, it would
But
be
if we
chaos.
didn't have it, it would be chaos. Yeah, I believe that. There would be no
So
laws. Like,
we do need us as people. Everybody's different, so
mm,
everybody thinks differently. That's why we can't think for ourselves. We need
yeah, that's
somebody.
true.
We need somebody that's going to be that's that you can't buy. You can't buy him. You can't buy that person. Like there's
No,
nothing. There's nothing you can give God. That's nothing. You can't give him money.
that'll
You
make
can't
him
give him
do
money. You
something.
can't.
Right.
And he knows what's best for us because we don't know what's best for us. People could sit here and be like, "Oh, I know what's best for me." No, you don't. You know what's best for you. You don't even know what's best for you at the time being because we're constantly changing, right?
Yeah.
So, what I thought 5 years ago is not what I'm thinking today, right?
Right.
So,
But
and then when
people
I'm thinking 5 years from now, I'm probably not gonna. I'm not probably not gonna feel that way. So,
uh,
but God is constant. He's the same. He doesn't
yes,
change. He's not. He doesn't change. That's what we
today,
need. We need that. We need it. That's what
yesterday,
we need.
and forever.
And
He
then
never changes.
how are you gonna doubt somebody that he knows what's gonna happen? I think somebody
It's
that
not
knows what's gonna happen is he knows what's best for you,
truth.
right? So I can
Truth.
sit here. So I can sit here and be like, "Fam, I don't think you should smoke cigarettes because it's gonna give you cancer." You might not think that. I know I
Right.
need cigarette. I need cigarettes because I'm angry and that calms me down.
And this is how I
Okay.
calm down.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
how I calm myself down. Okay. Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
It's not we need him. Whether people want to believe, whether they think we need him.
Yeah, you
We need him.
it's wild like cuz some of the stuff you were saying, like I'm glad you said it, cuz you people will go into their own bag and be like, "Oh, well this is how I see truth. This is the truth that I live by." God is going to remember those same things, and he is going to judge you by your own standard, by your own righteousness. Like he's going to judge you. The word says this. He will
Hmm.
judge you by according to the righteousness
Hmm.
of your own heart. Like you have to you have to be a special type of person in my book to look at creation and n- not not fully, like you don't need to fully side with me, but to look at creation and be like, oh, this is just random. Like all of this stuff happened randomly. You have to be a super special type of person to be able to take God and just take him out of the equation completely and be like, all of this happened because an explosion, and that explosion set a chain reaction off that led to, the building blocks for life, stars, trees, the brain. Like we have been humans have existed for a very long time and we still don't understand our own brains and how our own minds fully work. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't understand this. We don't fully have a grasp on anything going on at the bottom of the ocean. Like more than a quarter of the oceans are still, I think it's way more than that, but you haven't discovered all of that. We're trying to go to space. We haven't even discovered everything on the planet yet. And nobody wants to be like, oh, there had to be an intelligent design for this stuff. Everybody wants to believe their own little way of doing things. And I think it, like you said, it all boils down to being held accountable. Because if I sit here and say, okay, there has to be someone out there creating something, then that would mean that what he created, it would start a chain reaction to my downfall, is what I'm trying to get at. So me saying, yeah, there has to be a creator out there somewhere, just because, the way the world is set up and the way that's, the stars do, and our bodies and, our reproductive systems and our heart functions, and has to be a creative designer. So then that says, okay, well, who is this designer? And then you break it down to, whatever the religions are, but then you filter those religions out and you see who died for you, who's willing to give up, glory to come down, be with you, realize who you are, and actually die. You only have one thing that leads from that, and that's Jesus, God, Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And then you go from there and say, okay, well, what did he say about my life? And you look at how he tells us how to live, and there's accountability there, and you're like, and people see that accountability, and it makes them kill all the rest of it. And it's like, I don't believe. But at the root of it, it's that accountability at the bottom that scares them.
Yeah.
Because if they say, okay, yes to this, but no to this, they're still off key, because you still have to deal with this if you say yes to this. So they
Right.
deny all of it. They're like, no,
Right.
there's no
No,
God.
no, that's the only way to go.
Yeah, there's no
That's
God.
the only that's the only way
Because
to do it.
if I give you that one piece, I'm gonna have to say yes to all of it, and all of it tells me that I can't drink every weekend and slap my wife, or I can't go out here and take from other people because I feel like it. I can't be, a murderer and just run around and kill people. Morality, all of that stuff that people think we were born with, just comes out of nowhere. God said it was written on our heart at the start of everything.
Yeah.
His laws are written on our heart. So instinctively, what we fall back on is God, regardless of whether we know it or not.
Right.
And if his laws are written on our heart instinctively, that morality that everybody thinks that they're so good at, oh, you don't need God to be moral, you don't need, yeah, you do. because
because
God
it's in
is
your
the one
heart.
that's telling. Exactly, He's the one that's telling you this
Y-
is where it started. Like,
Everybody,
you need
everybody,
that morality.
everybody uses his name every day.
They
Everybody
do,
says Jesus every day. Everybody uses Jesus' name every day.
whether they use it derogatory or not. Yeah, there's
Right,
use
right. They use his name every day.
of it.
So they. The thing is, and it's funny because the question I ask the most is, you know, do you do you believe in God? And they go, no, but I believe there's somebody out there. Like, okay,
Who's the
so who's
yeah,
this
like
person? I'm not
who's out there?
I'm not sure, but it's somebody out there, but it's not God.
Oh, okay, cool.
Got you,
I
got you,
yeah.
fam.
Oh,
A lot of people say that. A
yeah,
lot of people say that,
yeah.
and then those who say I don't believe, they do believe. I know they believe. They just don't want to. So, like you said, they take everything off of the table
Yeah. You
because
have to.
you have all these things. So when you have God, you have all these things that, no disrespect, they're not fun.
They're not a lot of it for a
It's not
lot of good
fun.
folk is not fun.
It's not
And I say
fun.
good lightly
That's
because
hard for me to say. That's hard for me to that I mean, it's the truth as human beings. If something's not fun, we're not about it,
yeah,
right?
if it doesn't
So
feel good, the mass of people is
s-
not going to go
so
out there and do it.
so partying, getting drunk, doing drugs is fun. Having
It's
sex is
fun.
fun. Violence is
It's
fun.
fun.
Violence is fun. And this is the thing too. I kind of test it because I put stuff on social media and I know it's wrong. Don't get me wrong. I know it's wrong. But I put it up and then I look at the views and then I put stuff that's good for you. I
Right.
put it on
Wholesome things. Yeah.
wholesome things. Things about God, things that can help you as a person, physically, mentally, health, the violence
More
and the
likes, more views.
craziness. It's
Yeah.
crazy. And I don't put it up to amuse me. Like a lot of the stuff, I don't laugh at it.
Yeah.
But the views are so crazy. I'm like, really? I honestly, I sit back and I go, really? This this thing that could save
This
your
is
life
you
got
don't care
3
about.
views, but this did right here got like 60, 70, almost 100 views.
Yeah. The ways of God,
It's yeah,
there's a
it's
blindness.
not
There's a blindness.
it's
Like it's I don't people don't
but
see it. And then it takes something truck size barreling at you at 90 miles an hour for you to recognize who God is, even though God's been sitting next to you trying to get your attention for this entire time. And it's like
and then everything's God's fault.
just
Everything
oh yeah, nah. Don't
it's
even get
his
me started
fault.
on that.
Oh,
He can
he can stop this, and he has the power to
he
do
can
this, and
stop this, he has the power to do that, but your God doesn't do it. Like, okay, cool. So if you want
but then
God
I'm
to stop, man, that's a conversation that we need to have.
and then the thing is, like, in reality, he doesn't need to help you. Why is he going to sit here and help somebody that doesn't believe in him?
That's very true.
Somebody that mocks him, somebody that uses his name as a curse word.
Listen, man, that grace and that love,
He doesn't need to help you. He doesn't need to.
he
Does not
doesn't
need to.
have to at all. Like
He doesn't have to. He's God.
he doesn't have to at all.
He
He
sits
doesn't
up
have
there
to.
and watches us do stupidity
All the
24
time.
7.
All the time.
24 7.
I be on that list like
Every time
45
you
times.
sin, every time you sin,
Just
you're just mocking him and you're like rubbing stuff in his face
right. Yeah.
and you're doing it and you're doing it. And then you go, oh, why isn't he helping us? Why isn't he doing this? And then what people don't
Man,
realize is that we're doing these things to ourselves
right.
because he's not doing anything.
People like to say,
He's not doing
"Oh,
anything.
well, people like to say, "Oh, well, God created sin because he knew we would be, he knew we would do it and then he let us do it and it's really his fault." And that just shows me that they're not willing to take accountability for anything. If you will instantly fall back on, oh, it's God's fault, and well, God should have did, you're blaming something that you don't believe in. You're blaming something you don't believe in for something that you or people should have had the accountability to say, hey, we need to help those who are less fortunate. We need to step up. Like, if you don't believe in God, don't throw stones at him,
Yeah.
because you're really throwing, in your own logic, you're throwing stones at the air. You know
Oh,
what I mean? Like,
he's letting this war happen. No, he's
oh
not.
yeah, you're just throwing stones at the air, and it's like,
No, he's not.
how silly
He's watching us have this war.
how silly do you have to be in order to shoot arrows at something that you don't believe exists?
And the thing is, like, I used to be like that.
Yeah, I used to
I
be
used to
that
be
way.
like, oh, God, why? Like, God, why? And God, why are you
Yeah,
punishing me? And God, why like this? And I'm just
yeah,
doing and then like I'm just doing this stuff to myself because he's not doing
right.
anything. He's not here. He's not. He's here, but he's not here.
Yeah, like it's not him putting the thing in
It's
your
not
hand
him.
that's causing you to do
Yeah,
anything.
he's not doing anything.
And sometimes it's not.
If anything, he told us what to do.
Yeah,
He
he
told us
gave
what
us
to do.
instructions. He gave us instructions.
Don't
He
do
gave us.
this. Don't do this. Do this.
But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna put it to you like this: sometimes it's not the devil doing it either.
Nah, it's
You
not.
feel me?
No, it's
Sometimes
not.
it's not the devil doing it either. So people are quick to be like, oh, well, the devil like is out here. The devil is one entity. I have to say that for some people, the devil is one
Yeah,
entity.
yeah,
You think you think that the devil is he's not, like, God is omnipotent. You know what I'm saying? God is eternal. God can be everywhere at once. You know what
hmm
I'm saying? He can be with me and with you at the same
Same time.
time.
Same time.
The devil can't do that. The devil
Mm-mm.
doesn't have power like God has power. There's
Right.
two different levels. There's like Ant-Man and, like, who's a dope? Who's a Silver Surfer?
Goku and Krillin.
Goku and Krillin. Krillin is a strong human.
Yeah, Goku
He's a
and
very he's a
Yamcha.
very strong, right. He's a very strong human. These are very strong humans.
Yeah, he's not messing with
They're
Goku.
not they're not Goku. They're not
Instant
Saiyans.
transmission.
Like,
It's
if
no.
they lose the battle, they get stronger just from losing the battle. Like, they get
Yeah,
stronger in fights.
yeah,
They
yeah,
have to train constantly, and they're still not gaining. There's a difference.
yeah,
You're talking about all power versus the limited power that he fell with.
yeah.
And
But
that limited power is beyond us. Obviously, it's beyond us, but it's still not infinite. It's not God power. Like, he can
but
do things.
the devil uses our weakness against us. That's all he does.
Yeah. That's all he needs to do.
That's
Listen,
it. All he
listen,
gotta do is put something in your ear,
man,
and we
this the
listen. We listen,
the slickest
especially
the
when it comes.
slickest
Listen,
being in
man.
the universe is the devil. Cause all he gotta do is be like, nah, that ain't right. And you'll be like, and you'll be like, you know what? You're right. That ain't right. And then you'll go off on the tangent, and he'll be like, I'm done. I'm gonna
Yep.
go down here and get a sandwich, and I'm
He
gonna
said
watch this mess happen. And that whole
next.
thing will blow up, and it'll be one Karen attacking another Karen, and he'll be like, that was
You know.
easy.
Yeah. All he gotta
Where
do is
where am I
say
headed
something.
next?
All he gotta do is put something in your ear. That's it.
Just
He don't gotta
just a,
possess you. He don't.
just
He
a
don't-
little
yo.
just a little something,
Yeah.
because he's
Hey yo,
if
look at
he
that
can
girl.
if
Hey yo,
he
look at that
can
girl.
take if he can think about Adam and Eve. I know we're getting tight on time, but think about Adam and Eve. They were in the garden, right? I would argue that they were in perfection. He convinced Eve.
Yeah.
Eve convinced Adam, and they were dragged out of perfection by one sentence, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did
And,
God
and it,
say, did God really say that you would die? Like, did God really say that? All he had to do was plant a little bit of doubt, and it pulled them away from
That's it.
the creation, the connection of all connections, the source of all sources. Like that argument is so played out that we were stupid and naked and the devil came and gave us wisdom and knowledge. Like there are people out here believing this. And it's like, why would you want the wisdom and knowledge that you could gain on your own when you were connected to God, the source of all knowledge?
Yeah.
Why would you want that?
Yeah.
That's two different levels of knowledge. And it's like, think about it like this. And you in an entourage, do you want to go make it on your own, or do you want to be connected to the guy who's doing it so that you can do your own thing?
Yeah.
Because this way is a high failure rate. You're probably gonna bomb. But
Yeah.
this way, he's like, I'll put you on, and
I
it's
got you.
guaranteed. It's guaranteed. He's like, yo, I got you. I'll put you on. Just come with me.
I got you. I
That's
got you
all
this
you had
show.
to do.
I got
Right,
you this
right.
show.
That's all. Right. That's all you had
I
to
got you
do.
this movie.
Come with me. You're good.
Yeah, you're
Or
good.
go over here, sit in a
Do it
corner,
yourself.
and figure it out yourself. And we were like, I'm gonna do it myself. It's a young lady on TikTok who has made a ton of she's made a ton of followers and content about that same subject. And she's like, sometimes she'll do like, she'll pray to God and God will pop up and she'll be like, God, I really want to find out if this guy is for me. And God's like, no, he's not for you. And she's like, I'm gonna figure it out for myself. And then she'll go out and then she'll do something. And
Then why ask him?
it, right, yeah, right. But
Why
that's
you
that's the
asked him?
nature. That's the
That's
nature of the
us.
content, and that's why
That's
it's
us.
funny. You know what I'm saying?
That's,
Because we'll go to him and be like, "God, I really want this new job. I know I didn't ask, what your plan was, but I'm gonna go see what this is." And God's like, "I don't want you to go over there." And you get the feeling that this job is not gonna be where you need to be, and you do it anyway. And it's like, crap. Maybe I should have stayed where I
just to
was.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I should have.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have stayed.
And it's funny because I've seen people be like, "Oh, it's not my fault. That happened a long time ago. It's Adam and Eve. That." But when you really think about it, even if it was, let's say it was the person who says that, right? They would
Yeah,
have done the same thing. They would have done the same thing.
it's
If I was
it's
Adam,
always.
if I was Adam, I probably would have did the same thing.
That's the point. That's the
So for me
point.
to sit here and blame Adam,
That's the point. That's the
we're doing
point.
it. I mean, we're doing it now.
Right. We do
Oh,
it all the time.
it's like, oh, but it was because of Adam.
Listen,
I'm pretty
listen,
sure I would have done
listen,
it.
listen. I know I told you this before. I say this every time somebody asks me. Every time you go through your normal day life and God is one of the options in your day and you don't choose God, you're back at that tree again.
Yeah,
Did God really say you need to read your Bible every day? Did God really say you need to go to church on Sunday? Did God really say be nice to Susan because she's bringing in that potato salad with the raisins in it, and you don't like it, but you're gonna eat it anyway? Like, did God really say do X Y Z? You're back in the garden making that choice all over again.
yeah,
You're
yep,
front and center for that choice,
yep,
and a lot of us don't even consider God. So the choice
right,
is always automatic, and we just go to the first thing we think of. And it's, oh, me, I'm living my truth. I'm being honest to myself. But God says to deny yourself, take up your cross and follow him. So if you're not doing that on a regular basis, are you really a part of the collective? Are you really part of the faith like you claim to be? Like, that's the question we have to ask ourselves as Christians.
right.
That's the thing we have to remember. Like, are you doing what he instructed us to do? Because we have work to do. We as Christians have a job to do. And we have to put that above our heart. We have to put that above our feelings. We have to put that above our wants. We have to put that above our goals, our dreams, our desires. We have to put that because when we put God first, he will make sure everything else straightens up and falls in line.
Right,
If we do it ourselves, things will be scattered.
right.
And you see that in your life. You thought so and so was in love with you and they weren't,
It's
and
because
they ran
we don't
off with
know.
Becky. You
We don't
thought
know.
we don't know better.
We
You
don't we
thought the
don't it's,
job was going to
we
work. Like,
we don't know better, but we don't know what's gonna happen.
we don't, and he
We don't know what's
does.
gonna happen exactly.
And there's this argument real
Exactly.
quick. There's this argument where God knows, so we don't have free will. It's not like the people who made, if God knows something and you don't know, and he allows you to make decisions, that's still good. You're in a great place. It's
Yeah.
like the person who made the movie, they know how the movie's gonna end, but you don't. So you still have the opportunity to enjoy it. You still have the opportunity to go for the ride. It's not
Right.
like, oh, nobody needs to know before I jump in. It's good that God knows so that he can help you navigate this thing that you're about to jump into. Because
Right.
sometimes we take on things that are bigger than us, and that the weight of that bigger thing will crush you, especially if you get to something early. Like if you get to $1 million and you're like 20 years old, what's the first thing you're gonna do? You're gonna blow it.
Yeah.
You're
You're
gonna
gonna blow
go
it.
out, you're gonna spin it, you're gonna throw it on your friends, you're gonna make paper airplanes, you're gonna light some on fire, and then it's gone. Or when you hit it at 35, 40, you're gonna be like, okay, so now I can
I
invest
got
this.
kids. I got a wife. I got yeah. I got. I
Right.
need to.
Now I
I
can
need to
set
make
my
more money with
kids
this
up for
money.
their future. Right. Now I can flip this.
Flip
And
this.
go
Yeah.
out, flip this, increase, be on better terms, do
And we good
better
to go.
things.
Yep.
So God is like you hitting that lottery in your older age because you have wisdom. And God is the source of all wisdom. So you have wisdom. Hitting it early is basically giving the devil license to run amok on anything. So God is good. God is there. He is essential. Like you, I never can understand how people can't be connected to the source. Like, or not can't be connected to the source, but I don't understand why people choose not to be connected to the source and choose to do things on their own.
He said, "Hey, people, if you want to be good, go with the good guy.
Yeah, we said that
You
last
want to.
time.
You want to be good?
You want to be good? Do what good
Chill.
does. Do
Chill
what
with the
good
good guy.
is. Chill
Chill
with
with
the
the
good
good
guy.
guy. Chill with the good guy.
Chill with the good guy. Right. So,
If and the thing, and this is the thing, if you don't chill with the good guy, you're choosing bad
yep. Like
because there's only two
even if
choices.
there's only two
People don't.
choices.
People don't realize
Only
that it's two choices. You're
there's
either
only
going to
two
be good or you're
choices.
going to be bad. You're either going to go to heaven or you're going to go to hell. There's nothing else between. You can't sit here and be like, just don't want to be a part of that. There is
Nah,
no. I'm not want to be a part of
there's
that.
no part of
It's
it.
you're either with God
You're
or
either in
you're
or
with the
out.
other person.
And
That's it.
the thing is that's awesome is you are allowed. God is like, even if you spit in my face, I'm still gonna allow you to live. I'm still gonna allow you to flourish.
Yeah,
So you can, of your own free will, you can go out there and have the life, the time. You can do everything that you want to do. You can go out there and do what you want.
but
You
after that,
absolutely can. Just know that living that life, you're gonna have your heaven on earth now. Later on, you're gonna have to do something different.
yeah.
That's
And remember, this is
that's the give
temporary.
and take.
This is
Yeah, life
temporary.
life is super temporary. Life is
Temporary.
super temporary.
Some people's lives is longer than others, but it's temporary.
It's temporary. And
There's a reason for that.
man,
But
listen,
what happens after is forever,
get under grace.
forever.
If you're not under
Remember
grace,
that
I say this, get under
forever. It's not.
grace.
I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I don't. I don't think temporary forever. I don't know which one you pick.
Man, listen. I tried it my way for most of my life. I hit my 20s and I was still doing wild stuff. And I was wondering why things weren't like the basics weren't connecting. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm wondering why my life wasn't doing what I needed it to do.
Well, I feel like
And
you try to have these good times so you could forget about the struggle and the you know what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah,
You did the drugs, you did the partying, you did the sex, but it always goes back.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like when when you smoke when you smoke marijuana, it's only temporary, but you're doing damage to your body. You have to understand
yeah,
that you're damaging your body
yeah,
to get high for 3 or 4 hours. Then you do it
yeah.
again.
a body
Then you
that
have to
does
do it
belong to
again.
you.
You're not supposed
Yeah,
to be putting this stuff into your body.
yeah. Your body doesn't need those things,
It
and you're
doesn't need
adding
to.
things to it.
Right. So
No,
it's not worth it. It's not worth
it's
it.
not. It's
It's
not
it's
worth it.
not. Please take it from somebody who used to do drugs.
Right.
It's not worth it because you're gonna keep doing it. You keep doing it so you can stop feeling this pain, this regret, this guilt, this unhappiness, and it's only temporary.
Yeah.
Because once that goes away, everything comes back. Then you have to.
Yeah.
So it's a wash, rinse, repeat.
Couldn't have said it better.
All that so later on you can get cancer or something worse.
Oh boy.
So if you can see, it's not it's not the answer. It's not the answer.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
The Bible is though.
Truth.
I've been reading it and yeah, it's got answers in it.
Yeah. There are answers in there,
It's answers in
and,
there and
and
and everything that I read so far is on point
it's been
and
truth. Yeah,
yeah, and
it's
it's
been truth.
truth. It's truth. And I put myself, my life in it. My past
Hmm.
life and the life I'm living now. And
Right.
yeah, because all you're reading is people that did the same thing you did just a long time ago. That's all you. That's what it is.
Yeah, pretty
That's all it
much.
is. So you're reading. You're
It's,
reading people.
it's the same mistakes. It's the same
You're
mistakes.
reading mistakes old people did.
Right.
And
And
you're
people
doing
are
it
still
now,
doing that same stuff. Yeah, they're still doing that same stuff.
but
Yeah.
it's there. They lived this life and died. So and they wrote it down so we can read it and be like, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing that.
Like this leads to nothing. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like this lifestyle leads to nothing. Like
Right.
there were rich people back then. This lifestyle leads to yeah.
Right.
They're examples for
So
us.
yeah.
But yeah. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We're gonna because
Oh,
we could do this all day. We overshot the time completely overshot the time, but we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up.
heard that.
Um, I would say, kind of like a final thought for folk. I would say, um, just just weigh your options and be honest with yourself when you do it. Let go of the bias just for a moment. Let go of whatever the past hurt and all that kind of let all of those things go and just weigh the good and the bad of your current life and weigh the good and the bad of having that life with God. And if you can't, like, get a friend who is saved and who knows God and talk to them about it and just go in with an open mind and seek. If you go in seeking God, you'll find the answer or the answer will be given to you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Amen.
something will come to you and then you can make a solid choice. And if your solid choice is still going out there and doing your own thing, then go out there and live. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like God is big enough to where he's like, you can still have the life that you want, either in me or outside. I just need you to pick. I need you to make a solid, definitive choice.
You have to
Like
choose,
either,
man.
like my
You
mom
have to
used to
choose.
say, either come in or go outside, door open. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? So hey, so with that, we gonna cut it.
And
Um,
and, and, and one thing,
what's up?
please, ladies and gentlemen, think think about it.
Yeah,
I've been doing that lately, especially you when you tell me something, and I'm speaking of the last conversation that we had with the
right.
social media.
Yeah,
You got to think,
yeah,
especially that people that love you
yeah.
when they're trying to tell you something, they're not trying to tell you it to run your life or do this.
True. That's
It's
true.
because they love you, they care about you, they believe in this thing, and they believe it's best. Because remember, we don't know
Yeah.
what's best for us. We don't know what's best for us. No disrespect to anybody. I don't even know what's best for me. So on that note, remember God loves you. God is good
So
all the time.
all the time.
All the
And
time.
as we always say here at the show, Isaiah 30:21. This is the
This is
way.
the way.
walking
Walk
it.
in it.
All
Yes,
right,
sir.
y'all. On that note, we are out of here. uh, Peace.
Peace.